Hello, and welcome back to Skaditch. Um, what I want to talk to you about today is police abuse, as usual, because I'm a victim of police abuse by the Guilford County Sheriff's Department. Um, I'm not going to go over my whole case. What I want to go over is on the day that I was abused and arrested, I was thrown down, and I had damage to my palm of my hand. They threw me down so hard it peeled or abrased the palm down to the bone here, and I had to go to the hospital. Um, and the thing is, while I was at the hospital, I was sitting in the triage unit with a deputy overlooking me and keeping tabs on me because I was effectively under arrest. So while I was sitting there, I noticed there were four Greensboro police officers there in the triage unit. And there was a black individual in a wheelchair to my right. And while I was sitting there, what drew my attention to that was hearing one of the officers yell, "I told you to sit down." That drew my attention, and I looked over to my right. As I did that, I witnessed the sergeant there actually take both hands and shove this guy back down into his wheelchair. And at the same time he shoved him down into his wheelchair, he then took him and threw him out of the wheelchair onto the floor of the Moses Cone Hospital. Now, mind you, this man was handcuffed behind his back. There was no reason for this officer to do that. I witnessed this, and then after I got through at the hospital, I was taken to the Guilford County Jail, where I was booked, photographed, and fingerprinted. After I got out the next day, I called the police department, or I put in a online thing saying, did these officers report their use of force on this individual? No, they did not. They didn't report that use of force. So I went ahead and made a complaint of use of force, that this individual, was sitting in his chair. Evidently, he got up and the officer pushed him back down in his chair. And then, in the same motion, threw him out of his wheelchair onto the floor while he was handcuffed behind his back. After I made that complaint, they said they'd look into it. All right. So evidently, they looked into it. And what happened? Um, they came back to me and told me that the use of force was justified. Okay. In my mind, I'm sorry. I can't think of any circumstance where once a person is in handcuffs behind their back, that use of force like that is necessary. I mean, he's handcuffed his behind back. They threw him to the floor. He could have been brain damaged. He could have hit that floor so hard he would have been brain damaged. Okay, so I went to court to try and get the video. I noticed all four of those officers had body cams. And I went to court to try to get that video to present it to you. And when I did that, the Greensboro attorney came to court too, late, I might ask, because I had to wait for her to get there. And I laid out my case that, hey, here's what happened. I witnessed this. I was on camera. One of the officers came to me and said, I need to be quiet because I yelled out, hey, that wasn't necessary. He's handcuffed, and that officer walked up to me and said, you need to be quiet. And I said, don't tell me to be quiet. So anyway, I put this in front of the judge, and the Greensboro attorney, police department attorney, uh, gave this whole dissertation about how this man was unruly before the got to the. But that has nothing to do with that. But when he was in the triage unit, he was handcuffed. There was no need to use any kind of force on him. So anyway, but the judge, in her wisdom, and I say her because it was a female judge, said, "Oh, I can't have that video because I was not the main subject of that video." I begged a pardon. When the officer walked up to me and said, "You need to be quiet," I became a part of that video. Not only that, but you could see me in most of the videos and you could hear me saying, hey, that wasn't necessary. So, what I wanted to do today, I'll let you know when this happened. This happened on the same day I was arrested, December 2nd, 2022, and it happened at about 12 p.m. at the Moses Cone Hospital in Greensboro, North Carolina. And I it's been gnawing at me for what, 2 years, that they said that this was justified, just like they said me being thrown to the ground was justified, even when they had video that shows I didn't do what the two officers said they did. Okay, so there's something seriously wrong here, and I collected data on uses of force from the Guilford County Sheriff's Department for 2 years. In 2 years, 900 uses of force complaints. Only five, only five were deemed unjustified use of force out of 900. If anybody believes that, I've got some swampland in western North Carolina to sell you now. But anyway, that's where this video is. It's showing you all the times use of force. Some of these police officers were disciplined, fired. Others got off scot-free, and others, well, that you never see it. You never see the video. So what I would like to do at this time, if you live in Guilford County and you've been subject to police abuse, and they had body cameras, and you would like to get the footage of that body camera, I need you to write to me at skaditch606@gmail.com. And we'll see what we can do to help you get that body cam video or police car video. Okay? But right now, I'm going to show you all these instances where police get away with this every day and they're not held accountable.
¿Pero qué hizo?
Mira, 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 mira.
Police officer in court today asking the judge not to send him to prison.
Please, Your Honor, I beg you. I've never been in trouble. I'm not going to harm anybody.
Brian Parks pleaded guilty to assaulting a handcuffed man and then attempting to tamper with the records.
An Arkansas police officer has been fired after being caught on video beating a handcuffed inmate in the back of his patrol car. Jonesboro police officer Joseph Harris was fired after he was caught on his patrol car video punching, elbowing, and slamming the car door on an inmate being transported from a local hospital back to the county jail.
The video is hard to watch. According to Fort Worth Police, Mitchell Miller arrested someone for public intoxication in January. This is that video where police released of that incident while they were walking toward the jail entrance. The arrested person turned toward Miller, and Miller reacted by shoving him to the ground, as you just saw there.
walk that 22-year-old shoplifting suspect into the loss prevention office of that Walmart where he's already handcuffed, and Bayardi slaps him so hard he falls off that chair. Now this
State law, body cam, and vehicle-mounted camera footage can only be released by a superior court judge. Chief John Thompson says he hopes the new policy will help answer questions the public may have following a critical incident.
Oftentimes, when a critical incident occurs, it causes a lot of people to have questions. Sometimes it's as simple as, why did an officer do that? Or is this practice for the police department to do this? Or why didn't they do this? Or could they have used this tool or instrument? So the second piece of that is really about an education to the department to understand what we do, why we do it, how we do it.
Now that was Police Chief John Thompson of the Greensboro Police Department. He had just came into power and took over the chief's position when this incident occurred. And I went to a meeting and I told him about this incident, right? And as usual, I got lip service. I was talked around and it was never confronted. It was never like, I'll look into it. It was just like, it's accepted. This was a black man handcuffed behind his back, thrown to the ground by a white officer, a white sergeant of the Greensboro Police Department. And as far as John Thompson is concerned, the police chief, this did not raise to any concern for him. Even though we have a justice and racial policing policy put in place by Governor Cooper. So anyway, I just wanted to stop and point that out, that this is the current police chief of Greensboro, North Carolina.
Attorney Jason Keith handles high-profile cases where he has made requests for body cam footage. He wants state law to change in a way that would make footage readily available like everything else.
To put these conditions and these restrictions on those videos, those body-worn cameras, which are investigatory tools that they're going to use, it frustrates a lot of times the freedom of speech and just the freedom of press and some of the things we're trying to advocate for.
The chief says before petitioning the courts to release video, any employee who can be identified within the video will be notified.
Okay, once again, North Carolina has made it very, very, very difficult for you to get a hold of any of the body cam or police car videos when you're stopped. Their main concern is the police officer, not you. In other words, they're going to make it very difficult, even if you were abused by the police, to get a copy of that video that you can then share on a YouTube channel. Just like they did for me, saying that I can't have it because I was not the main subject of that video. This has got to change, folks. We need to have open access to these videos to expose bad cops. You do not get videos unless it's a life or death situation on that video. If you're beat up, if you're wrongfully arrested, if you're thrown against a car, if you're thrown to the ground, if you get your neck stomped on, you don't get that video because it was not a life-threatening video. But remember this, you, as the main subject of that video, can get a copy of it. And if you get a copy of it, you can do what you want with it. Be careful though. A lot of times there are caveats that come with getting the video in North Carolina. In other words, the judge will say you cannot disseminate that video on any type of social media. Once again, taking away your rights. There's something very wrong in North Carolina with our authoritarian police departments and the basically, and I don't know what you belong to, Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, whatever you belong to. This stomps on your rights. You remember those flags. If you're one of them, don't tread on me, makes it much easier for them to tread on you. Me, I'm a progressive Democrat. And I believe, too, that all this should be out in the open. If the police have nothing to hide, why can't we get these videos? Hey guys, until next time, have a great day and enjoy your life, okay? Goodbye from Skaditch.